All right, so we've got Dan's 280Z back in here. This is the one that has the really bitchin' Rebello setup, basically running the Mega Squirt ECU in this thing. So we had Dan put a few hundred miles on it, want to make sure everything's breaking in correctly, did a compression test on it, and did beautifully. So what we're really looking for is to make sure that all cylinders were consistent. So we're in the mid 160s with this bad boy. So we're talking 2 to 3 PSI within each other. So beautiful job with the engine build, and we'll throw it back on the dyno, make sure everything looks good. And aside of that, Dan's been able to finally enjoy his Z and drive it around. So just doing this out of precaution, just to make sure, you know, the engine's getting a good break in, make sure there's no abnormalities or anything like that. That way we could address it, and, you know, he could go back to the engine builder if there's a problem. But everything looks great, and we'll just continue to monitor it, do the oil changes, and have some fun on this bad boy. right, guys, we've got Manny's 2024 brand new Z, hit about 3,000 miles on it. So it's in today, did a little bit of exhaust work. We did our flex fuel kit in this thing, and we basically threw it on the dyno. So it had a bass tune on it, and I've touched on the subject already. These things are tuned pretty aggressively on 91 from the factory. So we made a baseline with the tune that it had on it. I'll pull it up, but I think we were about 360, 370 wheel. And then we flashed it with a stock tune just to see what it would do. Flashed it with the stock tune, and it actually made more power than the bass tune. And you're gonna ask, well, why? What's going on? Well, if it's tuned too aggressively over essentially what is the factory spec, it's gonna pull back the timing because it's knocking. So you gotta be real careful with turning the boost up and increasing timing on these on 91 octane. 93, you got a little bit more leeway, but 91, our hands are tied if you're gonna do it safely. So we had flashed our bass tune in there and then noticed it was still knocking. So Manny came down from the Bay Area and filled up somewhere in Bakersfield. So there was a chance there could be something wrong with the gas. So we ended up pumping the 91 that was in there, and definitely made a difference getting in some fresh fuel from down the street. So that helped. We were able to get the power up right around 400 wheel. Typically that's right where the threshold is where we see we can get 91 safely. So because we got the flex fuel kit, then this gives us a safe ability to raise the power on these things. So, want to make sure you don't spin the turbos too hard on these things. Still fragile, like the Q50, Q60, so you got to be smart about how you're going to do all that. So we got the ethanol content up to about E40. We're right around, hovering around 38% to 40% ethanol content. Got it up, able to make 19 pounds of boost safely, able to put a little bit more timing in there, and we made 452 wheel. So pretty good. It has a little bit more room in it, but I want Manny to enjoy it for now, and then we can turn it up just a hair more on E40 to make sure everything is good. I know it's winter time, but got to think about those super hot summer days. Bay Area doesn't see too hot of a temperature out there, but still want to be responsible, make responsible power. We don't need to have any issues, so we want to minimize all that. But beautiful car, beautiful color. It's a 6-speed. You don't see them like this. The interior is really cool. It matches the exterior of the car. So we'll take a look at the dyno sheet next. So here's where we ended up on 91. A peak of 17.4 pounds of boost. This is in green, like 396, 416 foot-pounds. And then on E40, we were able to bring it up just another 2 PSI. You can see, we can hold it just about all the way to 6,000. It starts to taper off, and then by the time it hits red line, we're down. But you can see that we're still making power all the way through by adding ignition timing and keeping the torque nice and flat. So this car is going to feel really, really good, and it's going to be safe when running the ethanol mixture for sure. So all I'll do is I'll pull up the very first baseline and the stock tune file so you can kind of see what can happen if you get a little too carried away with trying to make more power on 91 octane. Okay, so the baseline tune that was on it when it came in is in blue. You can see we did like 372, 393 foot-pounds of torque. Boost was right at 16 pounds of boost. So it did okay here. There was a little bit of knock correction, and there was way more knock correction down here, and that's why you can see that the baseline, which was red, the stock tune file, 386, made more peak power because it didn't have as much knock correction at the top. So just goes to show you, it's a balancing act, so you got to be real careful, how you tune these things on 91 octane. But here we go, beautiful Z. Manny's got to get going up to the Bay Area again, so we're going to wrap it up.